our eyes right now. It is compLexity versus Tempo Storm. Harblue was showing Roadhog to start things out, but actually ends up deciding to go for the Mei instead, so. Getting off of his signature character, going to Mei. Brave New World, but Harblue also a pretty darn good Mei from times I've seen him on it.
Yeah, I think just Mei is just the standard now as far as Kings Row defense, and some teams don't run it, and I think it does a lot of the same things that you're looking for your Roadhog to do anyway. You get those initial kills. Now on Roadhog, you're getting the hook in the kill. On Mei, you're getting the lock in and the kill, and I actually do prefer Mei on defensive Kings Row here.
Yeah, for those who are just tuning in, this is our Group B. Hex is getting sombred as we speak, but the defense of compLexity getting ready to hold firm, and it's gonna be... No, I was gonna say, Smoke can't possibly be on the Hanzo. That's not his jam. Playing Lucio is his jam. Or Zenyatta. But Hui no longer you must Hui, just Hui. And Mangachu going to be on his signature fare, looking for early pickoffs, but immediately running afoul of the Ana, so Mangachu definitely has to be careful.
Well, Spo is a fill-in tonight, not necessarily a roster on this Tempo Storm team. They're missing Brett Eckert, who I believe is being hit by a hurricane right now. But so far, no good aggression from the offense as they lose 2 on the way in. JKW able to shut them down. So far, a pretty big stalemate. And yeah, we'll see what the next push looks like. But right now, Tempo Storm having trouble getting in. We'll see if Mangachu can get a couple picks. Like, I've always believed that this Tempo Storm roster has had trouble with initiation because I don't think their tank plays enough to snuff. There goes nap time. There goes Hui. That initiation is over already.
They lose 3 immediately. Mangachu not able to get deep enough, and really just a very quick strike coming out from compLexity. When the compLexity has played well, they have been known for being a little bit more aggressive as a team. Not the most patient of teams, even the best of cases, but for now it's working out for them. They've burned a minute 15 off the clock, and they're keeping things in their favor, and they have a big ult advantage going to the next fight, so not likely the next fight is really going to go in Tempo's favor either. Even though Mangachu getting pretty close to getting that barrage.
It's going to be tough. You got to avoid this blizzard, right? So, like, their initiation has generally always been, like, let's get kills first, just because that's how they operate, but it's going to be difficult to do it. Maybe Farah can get up over the top. Nicholas does get to the back line, does use this on-boosted Death Blossom.
It's Mangachu over the top, does get the 3K. A lot of his team is dead all around him. Rez is going to be coming in, though, from nap time, and this should be all Tempo needs to get in and on this point. compLexity just very slowly getting whittled down here, and big plays by Mangachu to set that up. It is not the easiest thing in the world to get a ultimate off from Farah that doesn't result in Justice Reigns from immediately dead. Defense rolling right back in.
They are going to sound barrier in with notions of holding this back, but they are going to be pushing into a defensive sound barrier as well. So they do end up pulling it out as Hui and B-Drop combined for 3 kills. JKW still has ideas of bringing this back. He rethinks those ideas and turns right around.
He was thinking about it there. He was just saying, like, do I, maybe, possibly, and it's like, nah, I'm just gonna save it. So good decision making there. I think maybe he would have gotten a kill off it, maybe 2, but I don't think it would have changed the outcome, and he just would have been down in ultimate. So good patience and self-control there from JKW.
This Tempo Storm team does remind me a little bit of like old Method or old One Shot, because a lot of it is on like a single player, right? When they're playing really well, it's Mangachu, right? And I call it carry pants. He puts his carry pants on. When Method does the same, it's on Ultima, and Ultima put his carry pants on. And right now they're engaging in the archway, which is why are we seeing fights in the archway tonight, DP? I've never seen fights here before, and tonight it's been all over the place here.
Teams are experimenting with just being more aggressive, and also I think when you're running a man defense, it gives you more options there. The wall off in the archway, pretty darn effective. But now let's talk about Torque right now. Torque sitting here, creeping, has a Grouton at the ready. This is the flanking Grouton that a lot of teams do. Gonna pull in everyone, is the fall up there. Mangachu says, I have other plans, gets to the back line, drops a barrage, takes down 2. And it's not quite the full wipeout that compLexity was looking for, as nap time comes in, gets the res, and Tempo gonna be turning this on compLexity.
Yeah, they're bringing all the way back. A beautiful resurrection there as he had to leave the safe haven of his house, which is where everyone always hangs out on King Zero. Comes in, flying in, brings it right back for it. Mangachu with barrage into grab. And what is this, October 2015? What's happening here? So they have really nice momentum here. They're going to be pushing into a couple ultimates, but they've stockpiled a couple of their own. So their replacement support is going to have Sound Barrier. Hui and Mini also loaded for Bear, so the next fight can be crucial because you don't want to get stalled off before this second point.
Here comes Hui. Hui to the back line. Death Blossom out. Has one, has two. Looking for a little bit more. Setting off Tempo Storm on the right foot, though. It's going to be 4 kills out. Nothing answered by compLexity, and compLexity will be giving up the second point. And Hex, I hate to do this. I'm going to recall you for a second. Don't turn on your camera. Maybe that will help things a little.
Yeah.
Hang on. We're trying to fix the robot problem while casting at the same time. It's actually a bit of a conundrum, but we're doing it. Just as Tempo is doing it, where they've gone now to last with 3 whole minutes left. Mangachu still fired up, has a barrage at the ready. But here comes the defense. Graviton at the moment. They have swapped to a Pharah of their own. Nicholas is on that Pharah. And Spo gonna be first to fall, and late barrage coming up from Mangachu with the res. Not sure it's gonna be enough as they res right into the blizzard. Harblue with the weather report right in, saying that hurricanes aren't the only thing to watch out for right now. Blizzards are also on the menu, as it does look like compLexity is going to be finishing out this fight.
Yeah, they're going to hold pretty strong here. Does it sound any better? Like
it sounds a lot better.
All right. Well, I mean, also the quality of the broadcast has been improved based on the fact that no one has to look at me. So that's also just kind of a
this is what we call a true win-win scenario. Hex, I'm sorry. You're actually more beautiful than I, so I can't even say that. But we are going into the next fight here, and both right now. Teams trading off poke once more. Harblue still working on building up a Blizzard at 55%. Has the wall to split things off. Gets the first pick on the Lucio as Nicholas brings the Justice over the top. Gonna be another big fight here from compLexity. And compLexity finding their second win right now on this last point.
compLexity's impressed me over the last several weeks just based on like how they're very willing to change off of heroes, right? There's a lot of teams I feel that are like, they have their 6 and those 6 have their very favorite heroes and they're very hesitant to change off them. compLexity, not so much. They have a deep pool and everyone's willing to play everything.
Nicholas right now laying rocket after rocket in. Gonna take down Mini first in this fight, and Tempo actually looking a bit discombobulated right now as Nicholas still rocket after rocket. 2 extra kills coming out here from the side of Tempo. Or sorry, from compLexity, and they're holding Tempo back.
Tempo's going to look discombobulated because not only are they missing their support in Bread Expert, they're missing their shot caller in Bread Expert. So Spo is in there on the Lucio, and perhaps he's taking over shot calling abilities. But when this Tempo Storm team has struggled, it's been on comms anyway. So this cannot be a good situation for them to lose their shot caller. But they do get a couple kills from Hui.
Hui opening the path right now. B dropped in the back, laying in good damage. Zarya fully charged up, 100%, getting right in Torque's face, right-clicking him away. And take a look, this is a good opening here from Tempo. I mean, they did get stalled out a bit by compLexity, and compLexity is certainly going to have a barrage up in a moment, but for now, Tempo's going to have a big opportunity to finish out the game on last fight, and it will be the last fight because we are down to 35 seconds remaining. All comes down to this, and I think a key here is going to be Naptime. Naptime has res up, Shake doesn't. Yeah. Even if Tempo gets wrecked here, if Naptime is able to stay alive, I think Tempo has a decent chance of taking this fight. But here we go, Barrage coming over the top, going to be running in, and Hui with the counter hook right away as Tempo out for blood.
Manga's going to be playing super aggressive, knowing he's going to get the Tempo Resurrection from his Mercy. So they do take out a couple there. Shake is down on the other side, so now they're going to have the Resurrection advantage going in. Earthshatter comes down. A lot of ults going down. No one's on the cart.
Oh no, what a disaster coming out from compLexity. They still could have contested that to the end, res or no res, but they get off the cart, and as a result, Tempo able to finish things out with a little bit of time remaining, no less.
Well, 8 seconds might as well be 60 seconds in Overwatch time banks, so good for them to be able to finish it without going into overtime. Yeah, no, I knew it was going to be Manga coming in because, as I mentioned, Manga's like the big cog of this team. His entry kills are important, and then when you have the Resurrection up, you just let Manga go wild, and if he dies, you tempo res him immediately. That's how this team plays. That's, I mean, even before they were tempo stormed, you still tempo resed Mangachu. So like he got brought back up. They were able to finish out that fight, able to finally complete the map. So now they do have a pretty solid win condition. If they could just prevent them from finishing the map, they're going to take this first one.
Alrighty, and take a look here at the defense that will be coming out to try and stop that win condition from the side tempo. They were showing Bastion for a split second, not going to be a case. Will be B dropped here on the Zarya, Hui on the Reaper, Spo gonna be on Lucio, Mangachu on the Mei, not going on to his beloved Pharah here, just looking to control the game on everyone's favorite Ice Queen. Naptime gonna be in the Ana, and Mini on the Reinhardt.
Let's see what they want to roll out here on defense. JKW has scolded me several times before. Like, I always thought that he has wanted to have dreams of being a sniper, but he tells me he always runs Widow on King's Row offense just to see what the other team's doing. He knows that he's going to have to go down and play Reinhardt eventually. So JKW will be on Reinhardt. Hardblue is going to be offensively on the Zarya. Nicholas will play offensive Hanzo. Torque on the Reaper. Joe Meister on Lucio, and Shake will round it out on the Ana. 2-2-2 across the board.
Alrighty, so offense going to be coming in here once more for the side of compLexity, and a lot can be riding here on Nicholas. Nicholas, of course, on the Hanzo position, Feast or Famine, and it's been a good night for Hanzos in general, so high expectations for Nicholas as he rolls in here. All Hanzo needs is to get that one magic pick off from the beginning, and things snowball very rapidly from there. Meanwhile, Tempo just holding back and saying, you know what, we don't actually want to taste those arrows right now.
They do put up a wall behind them, try to lock them in, but it's Hardblue drawing first blood as JKW and Mini both go down. Both Reinhardt's down. Naptime eating an arrow from Nicholas is a brutal loss from this defense, though. Your N is not up, and that's not so bad as far as the fight goes, but she's not going to be charging ultimates up, and you're going to be at a huge disadvantage as Shake is continuing to charge.
Losing Ana really early on is a big deal just because of how quickly Nano Boost goes. They could have conceivably gotten Nano Boost in this fight. It's not going to happen now. compLexity is just slowly grinding down tempo here. It's going to be very difficult for Tempo to actually pull this back. And Nicholas and Torque just piling on. Late Nano Boost coming in. Torque not to be denied. Going to take out Mangachu, and I'm not even sure the Nano Boost is needed, but it will give a whole lot of space here to this compLexity squad.
Well, across the eras for compLexity, when they've been Code 7, when they were Gale Force, you always know they're going to win if you see TJO in the kill feed. And that time, Nicholas and Torque both combined for about 4 kills, even through the Hardblue eras. Hardblue can win games on his own. We've seen it happen. But when Torque and Nicholas are playing together as their DPS and they're showing up in that kill feed, getting 4 and 5, they're a tough team to stop. It's just the problem has been sometimes you never see TJO in the kill feed. So far, it's not the case.
Ooh, look at Torque, though. Torque is just setting up right now. This is a beautiful position for Reaper. Here he goes into the back line. Death Blossom is out. A quick 2 kills from Torque, doing terrible damage to the back line. And compLexity getting all they need. A Graviton Dragon Strike for good measure, please. They're already dead. Oh, man.
Now, the big question is, though, like, you win that fight in the middle, right? So, King's Row is weird that way. So you win the fight in the middle. Can you take it to second? Did you win second with that push? Because this card is so slow. That's what they're trying to do right now. That's why Hardblue and Torque are so far forward to try to deny them entry here, to try to make sure they don't have to do a next fight, because that fight means nothing if they can't take the second point, and it looks like there's going to be a skirmish right here.
Death Blossom coming in here from the defense. Hui giving him his own brand of whirlwinding. Is Sound Barrier, so he's going to live, but the Earth Shatter definitely ruining a bit of his momentum. compLexity still with 5 players. It's 5v5 right now on the point. And Hui just trying to bring it back. Not getting what he wants, and it's going to be Torque. Bring it back the other way. A little bit better Reaper opportunity here. Nano Boost coming out, laying the fight, and here comes compLexity once more, putting tempo on the back foot.
Yeah, Torque dancing with Naptime right now, but it does not matter as they've already gotten the point. He will gladly give his life for that. Hardblue gets cleaned out late, but again, it does not matter. They got forward spawns there. Torque able to bully them around the corner. Mangachu does switch it up. He's going to be on the defensive McCree now. A ton of good ultimates, though, for compLexity on this last push, as they're going to have everything they want. Graviton, Dragon will be up. Death Blossom and Earth Shatter as well.
And that's a big deal. The Graviton and Dragon is nothing short of momentous. It's one of the hardest things to actually defend in the game if the Graviton gets in 2 or 3 people. And Hardblue, pretty good at doing just that, so he's going to speed up. He's looking for it right now. Here comes the Dragon. This is one hungry Dragon going in, picks up 1, ends up setting up for 3 kills total. And compLexity still rolling, and off goes Reaper. Have a trip into the pit.
Well, the only counter to Graviton into Dragon is Sound Barrier. It's the only thing that actually works against it. And when your newest member or your fill-in is the Lucio, who's going to have that Sound Barrier and Spo, you kind of have to take that point as a weakness and dive in onto it.
You do, and oh man, we have the last-ditch Bastion coming out here, and really, compLexity not being phased. They do end up losing 2 at the very end. Naptime, a little bit of trouble, and hang on, is Naptime gonna bring the turnabout? He is not. Here comes the Earthshatter coming in late. Torque in the back line, picks up the double, makes it a triple. Torque just going off. The Bastion Gambit not quite being as effective as Tempo would have liked, so they will have a little bit of time for their own attack coming up here, but 1 minute to 3 minutes and 43 seconds. Tempo is in a deep dark hole right now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel kind of bad for Tempo, like mostly because like you know I do know like the manager and I talked to them about their roster and what's happening, and this is not the roster that they wanted to debut. Spo is a trial or a sub or a fill-in. They wanted to have Brett Expert here. Brett Expert was part of that Northern Gaming roster that they wanted to bring over. Then they brought in Mini and Hui, of course, to round out the Tempo Storm roster. So when you have your shot caller of all things, and like candidly, I've always told this Tempo squad and like Northern Gaming squad, like you guys struggle with your communication. Clearly, when you have to replace your shot caller at the last second, there's going to be trouble here. So it's really going to like depend on pretty much mechanical 1v1 and dueling. Can Mangachu and Naptime do enough? Is the question. Mini, I think, is a phenomenal tank. I think Hui's a good player. I think B-Drop's a good player. I think Spo is a good player. But as a team, can they work together with these last-minute adjustments?
It's going to be rough, especially given that they are missing some of their main roster. But I do want to say real quick before the moment gets away from me, Golden Boy has joined the chat. He is actually the originator of What Face. That is his face. It was number 8 on the Twitch emote popularity. Can I please get a What Face in chat just for Golden Boy? Just next year, I'd kind of like to see it at least be up to number 5 or something. Not number 1 though. I don't want his head to get too big. It's already big enough in the emote. But all right, we are getting into it. Tempo Storm going in here on the attack, and we'll see if Mangachu can delight us once more. Because it was a little bit rough for them the first time around.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of tough for them, just overall, just communication-wise. We'll see how it goes. JKW does charge in, misses it early on, but there is 5v5 right now as the brawl continues. Joe Meister takes on Mini. Lucio's only get kills on Reinhardt, so I'm convinced of it.
It does seem to be a case, but what is the case is that compLexity is able to hold on strong here, and Tempo Storm going to have all of about 19 seconds left to make their offense go. They're going to be at an ult disadvantage if the fight goes on too long. A lot going to come down here to Mangachu. Can he get to the back line and really open things up with rockets? He hasn't been able to do it too much here today, but he's going to have to do it now as 6 seconds remain here in the matchup. Mangachu going to the back, finds Ana, immediately takes out Shake. That's exactly what Tempo Storm needed to start this out, but Nicholas has other plans.
Yeah, Nicholas, meanwhile, says it's fun to be in the sky. I'm here on ground level just digging graves as Reaper as he takes down 3. They get the sound barrier in for good measure. Mangachu takes down Torque to try to, pad his resume, but that is going to be a full hold on offense or on defense for compLexity. Tough sledding ahead for Tempo Storm.
Yeah, so for Tempo, their best case scenario here is to force out a draw and a replay of the map, but they are going to have to hold on for an exceptionally long period of time here. And compLexity was pretty remorseless on their first attack to start this. 4 minutes and 35 seconds. That's actually longer than a normal first point hold, so it's not impossible for this to happen, but Tempo Storm's going to have to find another gear.
No, but here's what I like, if they do actually leave spawn with this. I think it's smart, because your back's against the wall. And so when your back's against the wall, we've seen it on Dorado, we've seen it on other maps, like we'll run like a Bastion, we'll run something goofy. Their back's against the wall, and so you see this in a lot of pro-level play, like, I'm just going to run my best hero. And Mangachu's best hero has always been Pharah. We all know that. Spo is going to just, like, a lot of the shot calling and burden is off of him now. He's just going to pocket Mangachu. Mangachu can shot call. Naptime will be in there and support the shot call as well, so that's like the core of this Tempo team. If you're going to hold, you have to do it in a different fashion, and I think they've set themselves up with at least a chance to hold here.
They have a chance, but it's going to be a little bit rough. I don't necessarily know if going away from the Mei is the right solution here. I do think that Mangachu, of course, is a great Pharah, one of his strongest heroes. In fact, Mangachu, I think, still might be number 1 on the in-game ladder, so he's an excellent player. But this is still going to be a little bit rough, just given how strong Mei is in this situation. And the fact
I've never agreed with the word "but" more. But
it's like he has all this going for him, but... And not in the good Billy Mays way, but here we go. Tempo coming out pretty strong here. First 2 kills going off to them. Mangachu over the top has Shake pretty much where he wants him. Shake, though, able to get him the slip. Gets into the room. Buys a little bit of time, and oh my goodness! Shake with the turnaround takes down Mangachu. And the respawns for compLexity going to be coming in a little bit faster here, so what a turnabout coming in from Shake and the compLexity squad. Nano boost on the way in from Tempo, but might be too little too late as Nicholas just deals with it effortlessly.
Yeah, that's over. They left Mini, like, just alone on the point. Spo and Mangachu died early, and you can't let your combo die early. That's just the end of your composition there. They're going to grab this point. That is going to be compLexity taking the first map.
Gotta say, compLexity, there's always been a team that's usually looked pretty good. I feel like they've had a few weird slumps as of late, but it does feel like this is a little bit more of a return to form for them here, as Nicholas just no cares in the world about that Tracer, just bops her immediately as compLexity taking map 1.
Well, here's the thing about this tournament, though, is, like, I feel like NA is so wide open beyond, like, the European teams in NA, because you've got Envious and Fnatic, right, who are, like, #1 and #2 in NA. You'd be hard-pressed to find, like, a solid #3 in North America. I mean, NRG, Liquid, compLexity, Tempo Storm. You've got a lot of these contenders. Method could be in there. I don't think you could really make an argument that someone is solidly #3 NA.
So we've had our ups and downs on NRG. I do feel like, even though it didn't quite work out for them at Atlanta, I do feel like NRG has been on a bit of an upswing.
It looks better, yeah.
The boot camping has definitely done a lot of work for them, and who knows how they'll be after their China experience. I still think that if NRG has a weak point, I feel like their tank play hasn't quite been where it needs to be, but they can improve that, especially if they keep spending more time together. And, you know, heck, I think they're in China for something like 2 months straight, so that's a lot of bonding time.
Well, tank play is also a lot about, like, how your team plays around your tank, too. So it's not necessarily, like, the individual. It's about communication and working with them. I mean, like, even Reinforce, like, he's an aggressive tank, but that's how his team wants to play, you know? So, like, I think it's mostly, like, your tank is indicative of your style as a team. So just getting your tank to play the way you want to play with your tank is a big deal. So hanging out in boot camp, definitely. They look better than I expected them to. I mean, they beat Liquid, and I was surprised with that. So, yeah, but I mean, would you agree that, like, after 1 and 2 in NA, it's kind of muddled and you don't really know, right? There's like 4
I do think it gets pretty muddled. I just think in general there's been a big narrowing of the tiers overall, where any given day a team can really come out and surprise you. And honestly, I feel like we saw that a little bit even in the E-League finals, where Misfits, a great team, don't get me wrong, but you look at their scrim record. I had a lot of teams come up to me and go, I can't believe they did this, because we scrimmed them a whole lot leading up to this. They weren't as crazy as they looked. Like, we thought Rogue was by far the stronger team. And that's why even Envy, for example, was so pumped when Misfits was able to knock out Rogue, and then they ended up facing a supercharged up Misfits team. But I'm not sure Misfits could maintain that level over time to the way they did. I just feel like it's one of those things where it was their weekend, they were playing out of their minds, and, you know, who knows? Maybe it's a case where they played out of their weight class. Maybe they're just on the rise to an extent people didn't expect. But I guess the moral of the story here is that teams are a lot closer than I think people give them credit for, especially on paper.
Yeah, totally. I mean, Misfits just, like, there's something to be said for Eye of the Tiger-ing it, right? I mean, like, when it was down to it, it seemed like they found something that no one's ever seen from them before. Because I've casted a lot of Misfits. I cast them the week running up to E-League, and they look good, but not good enough to be, like, I dominate Envy on the world stage good. So I think a lot of it,
because I mean, like, as far as the tournament goes, they didn't win Lenovo Cup. They lost. They didn't even get to the finals of Lenovo Cup. They lost. They got third place, which is about where we put them prior to going into E-League as well. And then suddenly, wait, we're actually just going to come in here to the in-person environment and kill it. So it's just a cool story in general.
Eye of the Tiger. We are on Dorado, though, after Tempo Storm just lost to compLexity on King's Row. So if compLexity wins this, that will be the end of the set, and we will move forward. We still have a couple more sets for you tonight. There's a lot of Overwatch. Tell your friends, tell everyone that we are still doing Alienware monthly melees here tonight. Right now, Dorado is going to be the map, and it is going to be Tempo Storm on the defense. Do you think Spo actually runs this Torb?
Spo running the Torb would be a little bit unorthodox, to say the least.
No, he'll be on Zen. Or Lucio?
Yeah.
I think his best hero was Zen, right?
He's definitely a Zen main. He's one of the people that's put in probably more time on Zen than most others in the game. But you gotta do what you gotta do. The meta is the meta, and the strategies for Tempo are the strategies for Tempo. And right now, they're not involving that Zenyatta. Spo, of course, filling in right now for Bright Expert, where a lot of people in the path of a very dangerous Hurricane. And I say that no sarcasm. Like, I'm actually still on some level annoyed that we have people that are saying to play Overwatch and do stuff. It's like, oh, it's just Hurricane. It's like, no, like, it's actually pretty scary.
Just leave.
But
like, there'll be a tournament next week. Just leave. Like, you don't have to play this tournament. It's just video games.
Though,
like, I love you all, but yeah.
Yeah, just best wishes if people are affected by that. Hopefully everyone gets out safe and all the rest. But we are getting into it here. The defense is set up here for tempo, and we're going to take a look here at the offense from compLexity as they roll out. And it's going to be up to Harblue. We've seen this blitz hook from him before. He's just looking for a target immediately, almost gets one. And I love that compLexity takes those opportunities, at least attempts when they go for it. And actually, Harblue, a little bit of a change up here. He starts his Roadhog, and now he's swapping off to the Mei.
It's an interesting thing to see an offensive Mei. I wonder what kind of gambit they're going to run, which avenue they're going to attack through it. It seems like they want to just take free ground through Archway. Like, if you can put a wall just past this cart and get it all the way through, then you can rotate. Yeah, they are going to rotate up top through stairs here. That seems to be their avenue of aggression now that they know the composition they're facing against.
They're going to drop the wall here. It's going to buy them even more time to get into the courtyard. I like the approach coming out here. They haven't really won the poke war or anything just yet. Tempo does have an opportunity, but Mini, a little bit over aggro, immediately punished by Nicholas. 5v5 right now on both teams.
Both Reinhardt's down, so that is pretty tough. Here comes an enormous blizzard in the wall behind. You're not trapped in here with me. Oh, wow. They are able to clean it up. Hui's gets a clutch bubble, beautiful bubble from the Zarya there. B dropped, I think is a little overlooked on this team. I think he was one of the best acquisitions they've added. When I was talking to them about like who you're gonna get for this 6th, they told me B dropped. I kind of shrugged and said like, fine. But he's played really well for this Tempo Storm team.
He's played really well, and he's one of the more veteran players. I mean, he goes all the way back to Beta 1 with a lot of the people that people know of, and I'm glad that he's gotten the opportunity because it does seem like it's something that could fit. But going here to the next fight, Harblue is going to have the weather report ready. A blizzard is on the way. It's going to be blizzard into Zarya ultimate. Everyone is going to get frozen. Hui with the counter death blossom takes down 2 in the back, but it's still a pretty good setup here for compLexity. It is 3v3 right now. It is a very even fight, and it's coming down to 2-on-2 right now.
Well, I like the defensive 3 better than I like the offensive 3 because they've got Hui and Mangachu right there. Hui is able to clean up JKW, and that should end the push here. Joe Meister is going to try to get just kind of a sneaky couple meters here. Torque does come up onto the offensive Tracer, too. Takes out Mangachu. Really nice play there. They do put a Blizzard on the cart, but it does not get much, but it does allow everyone to come back in. Should be a full fight on both sides coming up.
Is a full fight. Torque, lucky didn't get bopped there. Did get hit by the sleep dart. Ana, though, had more pressing concerns. And here comes the defensive Graviton out from B-Drop, trying to set up compLexity for failure once more. But Nicholas, having none of it, burst right out. Death Blossom takes down 2. And he's going to make it 3 in the end. And this should be all compLexity needs to get to the checkpoint. But Tempo doing a really good job of buying themselves a lot of valuable time.
Stall. I mean, Dorado, you either see your first point like completely held or blown over, so that was kind of an in-between for them there. They were able to stall it out a couple times. I think if you're Tempo Storm, based on what happened on King's Row, you're actually pretty happy with that defense there. It was a substantial defense. You should be able to get in position. Yeah, you've got your Reinhardt already up top. This is exactly where you want to be, so pretty solid hold on first point Dorado.
All right, and you take a look at Nicholas right now. They are moving in. It's a high ground assault coming in here from the side compLexity. You take a look at Harblue. Harblue also coming in from this angle, and he's just going to be looking for the flanking blizzard.
Aggro. They're getting aggro on defense. They jump off the roof. They get the sound barrier. Can we get a couple kills off the sound barrier? It has not happened tonight. Teams have been so aggressive on sound barrier, but the disengages have been so strong. It is a 0 value sound barrier right there.
They got 0 kills even with Harblue split off, and here comes Harblue in once more. Both ice walls side to side. The blizzard is out though. It is zoning people out. It is freezing people. JKW gonna get the triple kill, and compLexity just working around Tempo there is a nice thought by Tempo the way they engaged, but compLexity read it. They backed out. They got the re-engage, and there's really not much more to it. I will say too is that was a 6v5 for that fight for Tempo, just because they did get that sleep dart in Harblue and didn't even matter.
Sound barrier has been weird tonight, man. People have been trying to use it to engage, and we've seen nothing come out of it.
All right, well, another kill being piled on here by the side of compLexity. Naptime, though, coming in his own, picking up the double kill, setting up Hui. Hui just rolling into the back line. And Tempo going to buy themselves a little bit more time here on the second point, which is important because you look at the respawns here. This is relatively equidistant respawns for the defense. You don't want to give up this point super easily, not when it's a fight that the offense really has to expend resources on that usually take.
Well, Overwatch is pretty good as far as map design goes, because, like, first push, the offense is going to have advantage on reinforcing. Second push, it's pretty much equal. Third push, defense has advantage. It works that way in most maps. But, yeah, this one especially, you are about equidistance on how you're going to reinforce there. Really nice Death Blossom in the back line, and I think they saw it coming, and they both took their hands off the keyboard because they just wrecked both supports of the back line with that Death Blossom. Now everyone kind of posturing up. Decent approach here. JKW is going to have to drop that shield momentarily, and they're going to set up for a brawl.
Nicholas right now just waiting for the signal to go. Has Death Blossom at the ready, waiting for that speed boost. He's going to find himself in Graviton set. Has to immediately Wraith for him. A lot of the nano boost will be wasted as Naptime setting his team up a better engage. Mangachu rolling in, has a blizzard of his own. It's back and forth, but this is favoring the defense a little bit if the Mangachu can just stall this out a little bit more. Gonna be hard though. His ice block already wasted. Throws down the blizzard. And I'm not sure his team is going to be there to really follow it up. Just Naptime in and around.
Yeah, they got a couple kills really early from Nicholas, and like here's the thing: is like Nicholas and Torque are just hanging out with Joe Meister. So not only are they keeping it, but they're getting that AOE healing and just completely wrecking people. They're not playing super aggressive, which is sometimes the flaw of these TJO brothers on compLexity, as they like get out of position and get wrecked. They're playing more conservatively, and they're just letting their team do the work. And I think that's really a good sign for this compLexity roster.
It really is, and you look at here going to the next fight, they will have Dragon Blade Sound Barrier on the ready, one of the more conventional combos in Overwatch, but still intensely deadly. And here comes Torque moving in, Sound Barrier on the way, and no! Torque, the Sound Barrier from the defense here, just timing it. Torque did not get Sound Barrier of his own, does not really have the durability he was looking for. 2 kills coming out here from Tempo, and kind of feel like Torque got left out high and dry there, Hex.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I have very little sympathy for him because he's playing Genji, but B-Drop did switch over to this Tracer play on defense, which is a little bit interesting. B-Drop just showing off kind of like the roster of heroes that he can play, and a defensive Tracer, not something we necessarily see a whole lot on Dorado. What do you think it's a response to? Like maybe to pick off Harblu? Has Harblu been a problem for them? Maybe Shake?
I just think this is a long enough stretch that defensive Tracer is generally strong. There's a lot of ways you can interfere, but let's take a look on the defense. Hui, Death Blossom from the inner bottom parts. It doesn't quite get what he's looking for. It does damage enough to probably set up enough of his team. It's not direct kills, but I think the job has been done. Tempo going to hold here with the mix of Death Blossom and Blizzard, and Torque gonna have to back out here. But more to your point on Tracer, I think the upside about Tracer here is, one, is that they're not running a Zarya here, but if they were running a Zarya, you can combo that in. But the other thing is, I just think there's a long stretch here where Tracer can just get in your face pretty early, back in and around, and divert your attention from bigger threats like a Reaper running in with a nano boost.
Right. Well, I also think that he noticed that they were only running one tank, so there's no one to really protect those back lines, and he can get in there. They are switching onto the Roadhog now. That is Harblu on the Roadhog. Torque does come in with his Dragon Blade.
And 3 quick kills coming out here from the side of compLexity. B-Drop able to take down Harblu, but his team is suffering pretty horribly right now. And this is the window of opportunity here for compLexity. If they're going to finish out the map, they need to do it now. 3 seconds remaining, and we'll see if Tempo can stall this out. They are a bit on the ropes.
Oh, Spo gets booped. He was going to try to come and install it. That's why he was skating around up top as Lucio. He was going to dive in last second, but he got booped away by his counterpart. His music was stronger than the other. They do end up finishing that map, so... yeah, Spo had designs on coming in. He was skating around waiting for it, but not able to jump in as Genji Lucio rather, launched him away.
Now, there is one thing to note here is that for pure escort maps, not hybrid maps where there's a control point you have to cap, but pure escort maps, even though they went down to 0 seconds, compLexity would still get a full minute of extra time if Tempo is able to cap this out. It's only on the hybrid maps where if you go down to 0, you get no extra time. So a lot of outs here for compLexity, even though they did use more time than they would have liked. And honestly, even from the Tempo side here, it's not the easiest to finish out this map. So by no means are they guaranteed to even keep this all the way to the end.
No, Dorado's in that same pool as like Gibraltar, where it's like, you know, there's some maps where you always expect to see finished, like King's Row. You expect to see a team finish King's Row. I don't ever really expect Dorado or Gibraltar to get finished, just because like the closeouts are very difficult. So yeah, definitely some win conditions here, and I really want to see to run this Pharah. I think at this point as Tempo Storm, you just start running your best heroes and just roll with it and see how it goes.
All right, so defense is going to be rolling out here for the side of compLexity. Nothing too crazy here. It's going to be JKW on the Reinhardt, Harblue on Roadhog, Torque on the Zarya, Nicholas on Reaper, Shake on the Ana, and Joe Meister on Lucio. So we'll get to see that patented Roadhog defense coming out here from Harblue and see if it'll live up to the hype once more.
Well, Spo will very likely be switching to a Mercy here or something. If Mangachu is going to run on this, yeah. If Mangachu is going to run Pharah, you have to give him the support of a pocket. So Mangachu Spo will be the combo. Mini will, of course, will play the Reinhardt. Hui is going to off-tank onto Roadhog. B-Dropped will play a Zarya. Nap Time on the Ana. So they are running a variation of like triple, 3 tanks and then a combo. An interesting look from Tempo's offense.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, are they being brilliant or are they being behind meta-wise? It's one of the two. But Mangachu is going to be looking to make things happen here on the Pharah. Meanwhile, just the same, Harblue in a Roadhog fight, Hog v Hog, Blue versus Hui.
I mean, there is really no actual answer for this Pharah Mercy combo if they stay out of range, right? And that's exactly why they're trying to bully out Harblue so that he can't get his hooks in, but...
Harblue's one of the only options, and take a look, he gets a hook on the Mini, and Mini not able to get saved, even with the Zarya shield. It's just not enough. A lot of focus fire going in on him. And at 65, here comes the Harblue show. Hook after hook coming in right now. B dropped in rough shape. There comes the focus fire. 2 pickoffs here for compLexity, and that will be forcing Tempo back once more.
And it doesn't even matter that it's a non-ideal target like a Zarya, because just pulling her out of position means the rest of your team can collapse on her. It's exactly what you saw there. 4v1, Zarya has a bubble for a second, but then all she has is death behind her. The next push will be really interesting from Tempo, as Spo does have his resurrection up. So are they going to kind of really rush in, play aggro, try to get a 5-man res is the question.
I think that would be more to what they're looking for. We'll see just how conservatively Spo wants to play it. Definitely has to be careful not to get picked off by hook or something beginning with, but Resurrection's still very powerful. I think arguably Mercy's somewhat underused at times, even in this meta. And here we go, Graviton coming out here from Torque. They're thinking they're going to get the team wipe of their dreams, but little do they know, Spo is ready here in the back, ready to bring those fallen teammates right back up. Mangachu getting 3 kills off it as well, so Spo, he's going to call in the fallen warriors, and here comes Tempo once more. Mangachu making a show of it.
It's a really nice res, but they didn't end up bringing up Mini, who is still dead right now. He had the Earthshatter, but Mangachu doesn't care. Mangachu is still just rocking through these doorways, laying down the spam. There is a Roadhog behind, but he's the only Roadhog. I think Mangachu would be better served trying to take down this Lucio, which he does. Joe Meister not long for this world as they do start beaming in. This is a strange ultimate. I would suspect that Harblue is off of Roadhog after this, because it's kind of weird.
It's a little bit weird. I think it is trying to buy a little bit of space, if nothing else. Does get the hook on the Mini, but bites off more than he can chew. Ends up getting taken out as Tempo, definitely with all the momentum here, compLexity gonna have to give this up, and we'll see. Will Harblue be switching off of this Roadhog?
Yeah, I mean, like, either way, actually, because I think the ult was actually decent just to buy the time that they were looking for, and there was a sliver of hope that they were able to pull it back, because they did bring in, like, 3 reinforcements there. It just seemed like, I don't know, I feel like people don't value whole hog as much as they need to, especially when you're playing against an Ana. I feel like it's a good counter ultimate, and it has never been in that place, so people don't necessarily use it as such. But Harblue gonna stay on this Roadhog because they still do need an answer to Mangachu on this Pharah at about 100% in his barrage. He's gonna rotate around backside.
And one thing note, though, they do have Torque on the McCree here, so it's not going to be quite as friendly flying here for Mangachu. We'll have Barrage up, though, in the next fight, but might not matter as much. Spo going down pretty early on. There's not going to be a res up and available, and Tempo at risk of getting wiped out here if they're not careful. They are down that support, and does open up some opportunities here for compLexity.
Well, 5v5, they can actually pressure this knowing that Spo is going to come back in. So they could actually get super aggressive here if the calling is on point, but they don't have their shot callers. So we'll see. Graviton does come in. Did they get the barrage? Barrage over top.
Graviton comes in, but Nicholas taking the ground floor, takes down 2. Tempo responding in turn, and Spo can bring up 2 fallen heroes right here, right now, biding his time. Will he do it? Would be a good Tempo res, no pun intended, but he's just going to save it, and for Tempo, it's working out.
Yeah, they're going to take down Harblue too, who was a little bit out of position there, trying to keep himself alive. They're going to rotate around. Now, the big question is, can they get in here on defense? It does seem like they have the room to do it, but would it be smart is the question. It's only going to be JKW up here. Torque on this McCree. They're going to fight here. They're going to force a fight. Here comes the Deadeye.
They're forcing a fight. Hui right now was looking for the flank. Not able to get here just yet. Torque is dispatched Spo with authority. There will be no res right here, but here comes Hui right into the backline compLexity, taking down 2. Mangachu with the follow-up over the top, and this last-ditch defense coming out from compLexity will not be successful. Tempo Storm with 3 minutes and 24 seconds to finish out this map.
Yeah, Hui, of course, of Team Fortress 2 fame. He's Huey Lewis the Pyro, which is really making it hard for me to like him, but I'm trying to get over it. I do like Hui nowadays, as he doesn't play Pyro anymore. They have great momentum rolling into onto this point. Spo, even though he's gotten picked off the last couple times, is going to have Resurrection into this fight, and mostly across the board, very few ultimates, so they could kind of happily junk rush this and then just res up and just keep going. It's essentially 12v6 right now.
This is pretty much 12v6 right now. Hui going to the back, gonna take out JKW, but falls in turn. compLexity right now just trying to stabilize. They still have to buy themselves another 2.5 minutes here.
This does get taken out.
Just that is Mangachu landing beautiful rocket after beautiful rocket. Almost getting taken out by Torque in the end, though. Has to back out. But here we go. Nano Boost on the way. Nano Boost Ferret is a thing. A lot of investment in that. Takes down Torque, looking for more. Jets up into the air. Barrage is ready, and he uses it to take out Ana just to make sure. I'm not sure it's worth it here for Tempo, though. It's not as decisive as they need to take this point.
No, not at all. But that big whiff on the Earth Shatter is going to be brutal for the defensive hope, as they do only have 3 alive. They are reinforcing here. They've got some good eyes up on the point. A Deadeye does come down. Blizzard coming down. Can they clean this up?
We'll have to see. Nicholas, though, able to take down Minion. Again, just to remind people of the win condition here, Tempo doesn't just need to win a fight. They need the flawless victory that actually pushes towards the end. This is one of the easier points in the game to delay. The defense spawns right there. So a lot of their hope here is going to have to come down to maybe a Graviton into a Death Blossom, and really a good Resurrection, because you look at their window here, Hex, this is pretty much their window to win the game, especially given the ult situation. If they blow ults here and don't get anything worthwhile, you might be able to stick a fork in them, because they are going to be done.
They continue to push, no defense really showing up here. JKW misses his charge, ends up looking towards his spawn, as they do get 3 kills there.
They do get 3 kills. It's 4 kills here from the side compLexity. They're going to hold firm, but here comes Resurrection from Spo. B-Drop gonna be looking for the Graviton Surge right after. Doesn't have any enticing clumps of people. Gonna throw it out anyways. Ends up getting 1 person into it. Reaper going out of it. It's back and forth, but I don't know if this is decisive enough, Hex.
It's getting kind of close down there, but it's only like Harblue. I mean, here comes the ultimate, though, from Torque.
Nano Boost and McCree actually kind of scary with how much damage he does. The defense will be holding firm. A lot of ultimates used by the offense to try and make that happen. It doesn't happen. And now you take a look at the next fight. They're going to have to deal with the Blizzard. They're going to have to deal with no real way of dispatching people. They're going to have to deal with the sound barrier. If Tempo was able to come in and finish out this map now, it would truly be a remarkable turnabout, because compLexity almost has this in the bag.
It's going to be tough. There is perhaps the idea of, I mean, they're running 4 tanks now, so it's just going to be about this Ana ult, right? Can the Ana ult get the value they're looking for? Get locked up by this wall to start off the fight, so they're going to be patient.
Wall does come out pretty early on here. Harblue holding on to the Blizzard. He's going to drop it when they must get on the payload. And there it is. The Blizzard is out. He's going to the back. Ice Wall putting Lucio in a bad position. Still, though, it's Mini with first pickoff of the fight. Nicholas is down. Mangachu moving in as Winston's 3 kills here from Tempo. Are they going to be able to do this? This is a terrible situation to be in, Hex, but they are full wiping compLexity. This is exactly what they needed.
This is Dorado Lats as they continue to swing hammers. They are going to bring it to the final point.
So both teams going to be getting that extra minute, and honestly, that's a bit, it was a great play by Tempo, don't get me wrong, but also a bit of a choke for compLexity. They had a big ultimate advantage there, and they kind of flushed it away.
Yeah, not exactly what you want to use when you have the advantage there. Just did not look great overall. So we're down to time bank and a minute on both sides. So the courtyard fight is going to be interesting. Do you think either one of these teams is going to have the guts to do like super forward holds? Because you just have to win that one fight and you win.
It's interesting. It's definitely something they could do here if they wanted to go for the super far forward hold, but it really carries a lot of risk too, because if it fails, you might be giving up way more space than you would have if you just held back at the archway. So I feel like neither team is going to be that risky in terms of going for it. I think both teams are just going to play this a little bit close to the vest and hope that their training and practicing on Dorado pays off.
But it was this compLexity team that got super forward held by Envious, and so if it succeeds, then you win immediately. So it is kind of I don't think anyone will do it. This is kind of just wishful thinking. I would love to see a super forward hold, which did not really catch on. We saw a couple teams do it. Reunited did take up the mantle after Envious did take the super forward hold, but it does look like both teams playing kind of standard here. So we're probably going to see a minute to the archway kind of fight to decide Dorado.
Arblue taking the May elevator right up, going for the high ground. And compLexity, we'll see how quickly they want to go in on this, because you do have two options. You can blitz in, but knowing that the other team is in the exact same situation as you, you might be better served by taking a slower approach that you know is guaranteed, and maybe you get that overtime momentum going. So a lot of ways this can pan out here as Arblue right now just looking for that early split off. Torque as Tracer, trying to cause a little bit of havoc in the back. Arblue just biding his time and looking for his opportunity. Wall gonna come up, splits the team right down the middle in a way that they might not have been looking for. Both walls are off of both teams and both looking for that all-important first pick. The poke is out, both teams down a player. Arblue able to take down Hui. It's gonna be hard for Tempo to bring this back without the Reaper, but B-Dropped is doing just that. He is charged up on Zarya. He is bringing the pain. Still, though, very close. compLexity can bring this back. Arblue freezing people left, right, and center, looking to win this May v May battle. And we're in overtime right now, so compLexity must stay on the point no matter what. They cannot leave this cart at any point. So nap time. He's going to be looking here for the Nano Boost to just clear this out. Nano Boost on the Hui. Here comes Hui. Rolling into the back. Takes out Joe Meister. Looking for more. Has Nicholas in sights. Gets the triple kill. Makes it a quad. And the early Nano Boost paying big dividends for Tempo as they are going to stop the payload right here.
I mean, B-Drops had himself a phenomenal game like early on. With 3 kills early, they had no answer to that Zarya. He really stifled a lot of that momentum. And even when, like, they did kill B-Drop, but it was late enough that he allowed everyone to come back in. So a nice hold there. I don't know, right through the archway. Dorado's been so strange tonight. I don't know how to call this of if they're going to be able to get through or not. Like, the archway fight has been so important, but that is it. That's the win condition right there, as we call it here, or at least I call it, the yellow box of victory just past the archway. I really thought that wall, like the vertical wall, I didn't expect that angle that they put in was really cool. Like, because you generally expect the wall to come like straight up in your face and that's it, but he split them in half, and I thought that was a really great initiation wall.
Yeah, he went for the split wall rather than the no retreat wall, and I think it's a cooler type of wall that you can put in from time to time that teams don't expect. It's still splitting off the team in a way. It still gives you the ability to focus on one side, and sometimes it can catch people off guard, but this is going to come down to the wire. Let's just say that it's possible to get a draw in the setup, but they would both have to push a payload exactly the same distance, which we have never seen on a cast.
No, not at all. I mean, I've also never seen that kind of wall in a cast, which is why I was like, under my breath, I'm like, that's cool. I've never seen that like kind of split wall like they did there. So obviously May being more in the meta has given a lot of teams opportunities to try her out and try different things, because that was pretty rad. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see a draw here. That would be, I'm all for it, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I'm all about the world first, but take a look here. It's going to be Mangachu opening up here on the Pharah once more. He's had his great moments in the past. Will he have one of those moments here as they just try and break open this compLexity defense?
Well, looks like the poke game will just kind of happen as Dorado does. No one really rotating around. The Mangachu actually trying to come around with Spo. Spo gets a little far in front there. They need to get big damage out of this damage boosted Pharah. Otherwise, you're not getting the value you need out of it. You're taking 2 heroes. You need to chunk in that damage and let your team finish.
He's done so much damage right now. He already has Barrage up this quick into the game. Mangachu gonna be taking to the skies. Justice will rain from above. Gets 1 kill. Looking for more. Gonna take out 2 before falling in turn. But it's 4 kills here from Tempo Storm. And they are so close. 1.75 meters away from forcing a map number 3.
Get in there.
And it's not gonna be enough. Torque with the last one's on the point. He will fall, and Tempo has forced a 3rd map. So showing that they can hold it down on Dorado.
You got barrage in like 15 seconds. Like, damage boosted Pharah is no joke. And like I said, Pharah doesn't always show up on the kill feed as far as what she's doing, but just chunking in the damage. If you can get any sort of cleanup on the ground, like you're doing 120 to everyone there as you're launching those rockets damage boost. It's brutal. So really nice play. Like, we expected that Mangachu was going to have to show up big in these maps for them to win. Mangachu did show up big, at least on that offense there. Got the barrage on early to get them past the archway. Here is the exciting play of the game from Mercy as she hides in the corner below the map and brings everyone up. I gotta say, Spo's, you know, he's being serviceable as a replacement. And it's tough to, like, be a replacement for a support, 1, and be a replacement for a shot caller, 2. So the fact that he has not been awful is really good for Spo. I'm not trying to disparage him at all, but, like, he's stepping into really tough circumstances.
I love how that's the best compliment is he's serviceable. That's what he is. Just serviceable.
As a support, that's what you want.
Yeah.
You don't want to.
It's not high praise, Hex. Let's just say, let's go here. It's like, Spo's been doing a great job filling it. No, it's like, Spo's, he's okay. He's all right.
Yeah,
like,
okay. So
you know what I think when I change my oil? That's what I think when I have Spo, like, coming in. It's just, like, serviceable, whatever.
I use the incorrect connotation. That's fine. He's stepping into very big shoes, and he's done it, I was going to say adequately, but that's not any better, is it? It's tough. It's tough to play support, but if we're not calling you out for mistakes, then you're doing it well, right? He hasn't made any mistakes tonight, and he's stepping into big shoes. Shot callers in support on a top-level team against compLexity, and he's got play of the game. So, it's serviceable, A+ service. That's what I'll say. I don't know anymore.
All right, well, it has been a long day and it is about to get longer because we are going into map number 3. It is going to be Nepal Tempo Storm versus compLexity, and it's been a lot of games going to 3 here tonight, Hex. This is not, I mean, it is the new Overwatch in a lot of ways, but it makes for some long nights.
We only have 2 more sets after this, and then we have tomorrow. No big deal. But Nepal is probably a map that Tempo Storm did not want to see. They don't really want to play control maps. That's not necessarily what they like playing, so the fact they have to go to Nepal is tough for them. The fact they have to go to Nepal against a team with 2 kind of very good DPS, very good flanker DPSs in Torque and Nicholas is going to be tough. One of them is going to be running Tracer constantly. The other will be on either Reaper or Genji. We'll see how that mix ends up shaking out. It's going to be interesting to see what Hardblue plays as well, but I would definitely favor, since we had to go to this map 3, I'd favor compLexity to take this, because I know that Tempo does not like playing control maps.
Alright, so they're asking if we're ready. We are certainly ready. Let's get this show on the road. It will be settled here in Nepal, and who knows where things are going. Could end up being, well, if it goes to 5, let's just say we're going to be in here for a long, long time tonight.
Buckle in. It's been a bit. So on control maps, you expect to see kind of 4 standard on both sides. You expect to see the tanks and supports play very standard roles. However, lately teams have gone away from Zen and have gone on to Ana, and that looks like what we're seeing here. But I'd be kind of surprised if Tempo rolls out with this. Like or if compLexity rolls out with this, you do generally expect to see a Winston, but no Winston on the map, as it looks like compLexity wants to run 3-2-1 here.
It wouldn't be entirely unprecedented. We have seen some more interesting takes on maps like Nepal over time. It's one of those things where I could see it happening. A little bit more unconventional compared to the norm. I will say this, I don't think Spo is coming out here on the Torbjorn. I don't think Torb is walking through that door.
Unfortunately, no. No Torb, no Symmetra anymore. Come on, Blizz, bring him back. So... yeah, still no Winston on the side of compLexity, which is a little bit odd.
Alrighty, well, JKW gonna move things forward here on the Reinhardt, and this will give Hardblue a little bit more breathing room on his hooks. Not going to get poked down as much when he can hide out behind the Reinhardt, so really not the worst case scenario here. Does get the hook on the Winston, and down goes Mini immediately, just dispatched. Hardblue setting him up, Nicholas finishing him off.
Well, no Winston on either side now, I suppose, as they do add in another kill, 6v4 as Torque takes down Hui. There goes Mangachu, all the DPS dead for Tempo Storm, and we're starting to see why they dislike control point maps as they get rocked on this first fight.
That was absolutely brutal. compLexity in total and full control of that fight, and really just good hooks from Hardblue set up, so Harblu wants to hide behind JKW's shield and do that. Why not? It was effective.
Well, here comes the switch. Here comes Mangachu and Nap Time on Pharah and Mercy. It's worked well for them before. Can they bring it back?
We'll just have to see. Harblu right now hanging in here. Nano Boost going to be coming out here early in the fight, and once again, Mini Gang Dispatch, they're isolating Winston, not letting him do his job. It's Nicholas with a quick double kill, and Harblu right now just looking to feast. Getting a little bit of razzle-dazzle treatment from Spo, but not going to be enough. And Mangachu just running for dear life.
The reason Tempo does not like King of the Hill, right, is because King of the Hill is all about initiation and disengagements, right? And that's never been their strength, even back when they were Northern Gaming. They just don't have a good initiation game. They've never really had a steady roster of tanks who you could say are like the top tanks in the world. They've never really had those opening salvos, if you will. So their opening salvo is Mangachu going to go off? And if he does, they get in. But if he doesn't, they struggle. Look at this.
Oh my goodness, the Earth Shatter knocking down 4. Here comes compLexity once more. And that was only one ultimate they had to expend for a full team wipe. But what an ultimate it was. JKW, what a god. That was huge. And now you take a look at it. They have 5 ultimates up for the next fight. And it's going to be a must-win fight for Tempo, because if they don't win the next fight, they're going to lose the round. Things could not actually be worse for Tempo right now.
Well, I mean, I just talked about how they struggle with initiation. Here's how you drop the initiation. Sound Barrier, Graviton, Barrage, anything that happens, then you res, and then you pray. That's all you can do as Tempo right now. You have all the tools to do it. Can you hit those things in coordination?
And Mangachu right now coming in and going to get knocked down immediately. The Graviton just coming in from Torque, setting things up. JKW with the fall through. And that's a late Graviton. It's just not going to be enough. There's not enough people alive to actually take advantage of it. The Earth Shatter going to ruin it. Res comes up, but here comes Nicholas. Nano Boost, Death Blossom looking for the cleanup once more. It's a last-ditch effort here from Mangachu over the top. Takes down 2, but just very outnumbered, outgunned. But hey, he picks up a 3rd kill. Mangachu is still fighting for Tempo Storm right now.
Yeah.
And will it be enough? Still at 200 HP. The Pharmacy. Is Tempo going to do this?
Those 4 kills are the first 4 kills they've gotten on this stage at all. Those first 3 Mangachu kills, then Spo added in. But before that, they've been absolutely squadooshed. Right now, compLexity is looking to turn this back right now. There is enough on the point so that they can bring this back for Tempo, but a hook comes in. Hui goes down early.
Harblu going to be so deadly on those hooks. Just got 1 pick off. Gonna have another attempt here in 1 second. Nap time. Come over here, says Harblu. Takes him out. Whole hog gonna snipe Mangachu out of the sky. And compLexity will be retaking this point and taking round number 1 right away from Tempo.
Yeah, the score makes it look closer than it was, because they just got bodied for 99% of that map. Mangachu tried to put his carry pants on and bring that team back into it, unable to do so. And I do think is a lot just based on their initiations. Their first 3 fights, Mini died immediately on his dive-in tank, and maybe that Winston is not the best for him, and so just play... I think Reinhardt's fine on this map. Actually, it's a little bit more open. You don't necessarily have to take the space, so he's going to go back to Reinhardt. But so far, getting into fights and taking the point back has not been a strong point for Tempo Storm.
Alrighty, so we'll see if Tempo can reverse course here, going to the Sanctum stage, where Mangachu's still going to stand that Pharah. Much bigger knockoff potential. Oh, nope, he's swapping off, going Hanzo. So there is bigger knockoff potential on this map, but Mangachu gonna go for some log shooting here, hoping to get those pickoffs early on.
And we'll see as Mangachu goes, as goes Tempo Storm. So it's a lot up to him. Can Harblu hit these early hooks? Both teams just kind of gonna braveheart it over here on the stairwell.
They're in fact looking for their opportunity. Mangachu right now laying in the arrows, just actually being very conservative. I think he's going for the more precision headshots than anything on the realm of spam. Just waiting for an opportunity, but he's gonna find Harblu's hook instead. Good night, Sweet Prince. 2 kills coming out here from the side of compLexity, and that's just kind of awkward for Tempo.
Yeah, it's a 3rd kill. They're just kind of pulling them off in the corner. They make sure to clean up everything while, actually, meanwhile, Tempo does take the point. Not for long, though, as Spo does get cleaned up and eliminated. He did get 7%, though, while the team was dying, but they had absolute cleanup. And this is terrible if you're Tempo Storm, because you struggle at getting in and getting into a fight anyway, and this is one of the most brutal maps for it. Your entry is so hard.
The entry is a huge pain gang in this map. This is one of the more easily defensible areas if you have control. Harblue, of course, still a threat on the hooks. About to have Whole Hog up in a moment. He's getting rushed down, though. They take out the threat immediately. Tempo with a much better engagement to start things out here. 2 kills in their favor. They're going to retake the point, but take a look at compLexity. They knew that was a lost fight, and they immediately backed out. They didn't feed extra ult if they could avoid it.
Yeah, Tempo is riding this momentum, though, as they do grab a couple kills of some stragglers there. B-Drop, Hui, Mangachu all showing up on the board, and Tempo finding new life as they are able to clean it up, and for the first time are going to take advantage on a King of the Hill map. They've got about 30%, so I'm a little worried that they're not holding as far forward as most teams would. They're just kind of hanging out on the point, which I think is a bit dangerous.
It is a little bit dangerous, but here comes Graviton in from compLexity, but Hui is in the corner. I don't think they realize he's there. Nano Boost is out. Death Blossom is in. Not quite as scary as it might have been, as his team is dying all around him. He only gets Torque, trying to get in on Reinhardt right now, not really landing the shots he needs to, and compLexity will be clutching him back out and retaking control at this point. And now, you want to talk about Death Blossoms in corners. Nicholas going to have his opportunity to turn the tables right now on Tempo as they roll in.
Very back and forth here on this second stage as both but I do like generally where compLexity is holding more so than Tempo Storm. Make them fight through you.
Oh my god, Nicholas going in ends up with 5 kills, even by Beyblade standards. That was absolutely brutal. Just devastation. Oof.
Yeah, that's why I like holding forward, is sometimes you kill the entire team, but at the very least, even if you don't do that, you make them fight through you, and you slow them down, and you make it worse for them to try to come through. That's kind of the benefit of owning King of the Hill maps.
What? That wolf killed Joe Meister.
I saw that. I was
that was a random, I'm going to lose my ult anyways, let me just use it by swapping. As Joe Meister says, LOL, I was sliding on the stairs. What
face? Like that. It's the most Lucio response I've ever seen.
I don't know. Joe Meister almost single-handedly costing his team this fight by dying to a dragon while trying to needlessly parkour. Like, there's no need for him to be doing parkour there.
Well, if you do, I mean, he needs to look cool is the need. Anyway, they are going to take this point back, so it does look like Tempo is going to try to even it up as they flipped it over. 60 to 85 is the score right now. They do Nano Boost Hui as he goes around the Death Blossom, takes down Joe Meister again.
It's going to work out. It's 3 kills coming out here pretty quickly here for the Tempo side. It's going to delay compLexity, and compLexity now going to be down to their final attack. They will have a Nano Boost that the defense won't have. They will have a Graviton, so they're definitely a little bit more up on ults. It's not an overwhelming advantage, but Torque and Shake definitely have the tools to put their team on top here, and we'll see how they use it. Final opportunity here for compLexity to turn this round in their favor.
Next fight's going to win this because that's how the scores are in control point right now. Graviton comes in, grabs Mini.
Nano Boost coming in here for Nicholas, still keeping him all sorts of damaged up, but honestly, it's a decent response from Tempo. It's 4v4 right now, and oh my goodness, Spo with the boop off towards the end, and Tempo looking like they're on the verge of holding on, and they're going to do just that. They take the round and even it up 1-1. No thanks to Joe Meister and his parkour. Sorry, Joe Meister, you got to be called out there.
1-1.
Hardcore parkour. So one
also,
to one.
Chad has an interesting addition. They said when it's Tempo, it's not Beyblade, it's Rayblade, in honor of Raynad.
It should be Ray Noodle. There's no blade involved. It's just noodles all the way down.
Oh man, so yeah, Joe Meister's probably gonna look back at that and go, I can't believe that wolf ate me. It was just so random because the wolf is shooting off into space, like, it's not gonna hit anyone, and then it's like Joe Meister has died. It's like, what? How?
It happens. Happens sometimes. So it does appear that Tempo's going to continue to run this Pharah, but they're not going to run a Mercy with it. So nap time is going to be on Mangachu duty as he's going to try to keep him alive. It's an interesting
Ana can be
gambit.
pretty good about the single target healing on Pharah. It's deceptively powerful in terms of how tanky the Pharah is. Hui, though, on this fight for Tempo, able to take down Nicholas early on. Mangachu still uncontested in the skies. Shot after shot landing in. Lucio lucky he's not dead after that. Find himself cornered from all angles. Will finally go down. And this is going to be a quick attack from Tempo that results in a cap of the point.
Yeah, and again, Hui is the one in the kill feed, but Mangachu just really rocked so much damage in there early, allowing Hui to hit those like long-range shrapnel shots to take out the 2 kills that they got. So the Pharah is being ultra effective right now, already at 60% on the ult chart. JKW looks for the Earthshatter. Neither Earthshatter hits.
I mean, knocked down one person and maybe set JKW up for going for mini, but right now it is back and forth. 2 kills for the side compLexity, 1 kill for Tempo, but Tempo, it's Hui with the Death Blossom Nano Boost going in, but running into Harblue. Harblue somehow alive, clutches out the hook, and compLexity will end up winning this fight and getting first control of the round.
Well, it's not necessarily first control, as Tempo did rocket earlier, already at 33%, as they just kind of snuck it in on us. But right now, compLexity trying to turn it back around at already about 10%, and they will have somewhat of an ult advantage if these things momentarily do end up amping up. So it's going to be Joe Meister and Torque. Here comes the Graviton, though, as they aggress. Here comes Barrage over top. Mangachu takes down 2 to start this fight. Dies himself, though.
It's a good opening from Mangachu, and take a look over here at Nap Time with the sleep dart into the nade on Harblue, not letting him heal up, not letting him do anything they want to do. And Tempo doing a good job of holding back on here. You take a look at the next fight, they are going to have Sound Barrier, the matchup of Sound Barrier, so Tempo, you look at this, they need maybe 3 more fights to win this round, but that's entirely doable with how they're playing right now.
Yeah, I mean, Spo is saving onto this Sound Barrier here, but it does look like compLexity has the advantage. There comes the Graviton. Can they clean this up? The Sound Barrier comes down to defensively to try to keep them alive. Very close back and forth. Nicholas does not get anything out of his Death Blossom, but now they're on the cleanup as they've softened everyone up.
All right, and compLexity coming back in. It's a close fight, but they're able to turn it right back in their favor. Torque being a big part of that, an 87% charge Zarya. But Tempo, they gotta be feeling good about their position right now. All they need is one more good team fight, and they will take the round and be that much closer to taking the series. Of course, it is tied 1-1. It's been very close. But if they want to take this next fight, I kind of feel like maybe this should be more of a Junk Rush, build up some ults. Using just Earthshatter alone, I don't know if that's gonna do it here for Tempo. I mean, it might, but a little bit riskier than just holding on to your ults.
Well, this is the chance they have for a Junk Rush, right? Because it's 40%. They don't need to win this fight. They need to bait out a fight and then win the next one. They are just going to take it for free. What was that?
Okay.
What was
that? So that just happened. I'm not really sure why compLexity would give that much up for free. It's still 5v5 right now. It's not like Tempo's in a bad situation. Mangachu in right now. Gonna blow himself up right on Harblue's belly. Harblue lucky he's not dead, but will get the last moment healing. And compLexity, they retake the point, but they shouldn't have lost it in the first place.
I mean, I guess that's fine. You take it back. Maybe that's a strategy that I'm not aware of. I've never seen that really before, that you just give it up like that. And it kind of looked orchestrated because there were 5 up top just hanging out and no one went down to deal with it. I don't know. That was interesting.
All right, here comes the Graviton set up by the whole hog. Harblue feasting off of that setup coming in from Torque. What a quad kill. I think it was 5K, in fact, coming out from Harblue. So the cleanup was there. But again, because they've been losing control of the point, they still have to win one more fight, and Tempo is going to be coming back in with the barrage into Graviton. So Tempo, really good outs for getting back here.
They do, but I think that compLexity knows this. They're spread pretty well right now, not really grouped up all over the place. You're going to be having a hard time getting more than 2 in a Graviton right now. They're just going to walk right onto the point. They've done this before. Here comes the grab.
Earthshatter coming in. Mangachu gonna get knocked to the floor. They need to take him out here, and they do. Harblue gets rid of the threat. Justice will not be raining from anywhere. Looking for more. Has Zarya in his sights. And that's going to be another 3K coming out from Harblue, and a hold from compLexity, though they were not their own best friend for a lot of that round.
It was an interesting round, but compLexity does come out on top, taking a 2-0 lead in this map. Yeah, one more stage, and they win it, take the set over Tempo Storm. It's been so back and forth. It's been weird. Am I wrong saying it's been kind of weird? It's been a weird set between these two teams.
It has been a little bit weird. It's felt like compLexity's definitely had the more oomph and punching power behind them, but probably to be expected given that Tempo is running with a sub, and given that they are running with subs, I feel like they've been doing pretty darn well, all in all, relative to how it could have been. But I still feel like compLexity, if they don't take this round, they should be able to take the next. They definitely feel like a little bit stronger here in the series thus far.
Not the best dice roll for Tempo, as this is going to be our 4th stage. They got pretty much bodied on this, except for 3 kills from Mangachu very late the last time this stage was played. They had trouble initiating, so I think their best option is to take this point early and never give it up.
Alrighty, so both fights are underway right now. Reinhardt swinging off hammers, trading off. Both teams still 6v6. A testament to the patience of both teams in the Ana grenades, just trying to stay alive. But you take a look at the Ana progress. Shake going to get his Nano Boost up a lot quicker. Nano Boost coming in soon here for compLexity, and here we go. Powered up is Nicholas going to the back line, but Mangachu, the barrage, taking down 3. This fight is not over yet as Mangachu turns it back around. Nano Boost or no Nano Boost.
Mangachu doing his best to put his team on his back, and that is kind of how this team has always operated. Can he put his carry pants on? Nicholas doing the same for compLexity right now as they go back and forth, but Mangachu gets the best of Nicholas as they try to take control of this point. They do. Hardblue does get Hui again for the 2nd time in this fight. Should be pretty close here. It's going to be like 4v2. I think compLexity wins this back now. They've got more numbers.
They do have more numbers, and Harblu getting on top of the point, but it's still decent contesting coming out here from Spo. He knows he's going to die, but every moment that he's buying there, it's still extra progress for the side of Tempo. Tempo now, of course, will get a chance to fully regroup and go in, but 17%, not quite as much as they would have liked, but still somewhat respectable going in. Ult-wise, things are going to be really even going into this. It's going to be full-on ult showdown. We'll see which team will come out on top, as both Lucio's going to be dropping the beat.
Well, this is where Tempo struggles, though. How is your initiation going? Great to deflect that initiating Earthshatter, though. Here comes Hui, does get the Ana ultimate, looking to get some damage done there. Gets 1 kill onto Hardblue, looking for more. They do get Graviton here. It does look like Tempo's getting the better side of this. As they take down 3, they should be able to retake this point.
A big part of that is that even though it was an ult showdown on both sides, Nano Boost was up for the side of Tempo. It was not up until the very last part of the fight for compLexity, and by the time Shake had it up, he just got hammered down. So for compLexity, they're going to lose that. They will have Nano Boost going into the next fight at the very least. It's not necessarily even the greatest situation, but what they're going to have to hope for is Torque lands a good Graviton, Shake does the Nano Boost on Nicholas, and they get the cleanup they're looking for anyways. And we'll see how it works out, as Torque is looking for that Graviton.
Yeah, Hui did also get the boost and then did not have to use his ultimate as well. Mangachu over the top, distracting with the barrage. No kills so far as they come into the point.
Here comes Nicholas, Nano Boost on him as expected. Moving in, it's 3 kills here from the side compLexity. They're able to weather the Justice and find a way in. Getting more kills than not, and that's going to be compLexity flipping it right back. And this is super close, Hex. It's about to be 52 to 52% in our 3rd map.
Yeah, no one's going to have any ultimates, so we're going to have to some standard mouse 1 play here, getting primary fires going on as we just kind of played back and forth. But this has been super close, and it's kind of odd. I mean, they're running like these 2 tanks, Mini and B-Drop, but they're not running the initiation Winston. I don't think that Tempo Storm has a player that's super comfortable on Winston, so they're not going to run it. They try to get on the point, though.
They're going to try and get on the point. Mangachu, a few rockets away from getting a barrage. Both teams trying out 5v5 to open this up, but Harblu once more. Is he going to be the hero? Got 1 early pickoff, looking for another. Mangachu going far, far away from that pig. But his team is dying all around him, so he has a barrage. Big whoop. Can't use it right now. Has to wait for the last push that Tempo Storm is going to have here. If they lose out on this push, that's going to be it. compLexity will take the round, take the map, and take the series. So it's all going to come down to this. I think we're going to see a Nano Boosted Pharah here, Hex. They're going to let Mangachu be their hero or fail miserably.
Nano Barrage incoming. Mangachu is up on the point, does get the Nano Boost, does take down Nicholas, but not long for this world as he goes down. They trade out 4v4 right now, and it's still in favor of compLexity as the Graviton comes in. Should be enough to clean up everyone there. compLexity will take this stage, take this map, take this set.
And I still like the approach from Tempo there at the end, where at the very least, it's sort of like the NBA example of giving the ball to your best player at the very end, no matter what. Like, no matter what's transpired, you always give the ball to, say, Larry Bird. Well, in that, they effectively gave the ball to Mangachu with the Nano Boost. It didn't work out, but still like the approach nonetheless.
Pretty close. I mean, especially under the circumstances that Tempo Storm's playing in. I mean, the roster is relatively new regardless, and then you have to run without Bread Expert on your team, who is your shot caller and main support. You're gonna struggle a little bit, but they still gave compLexity a good showing, and of course not out of this tournament yet. Tomorrow, perhaps Bread Expert lives through the hurricane and could play. We hope, yeah.
Yeah, the hurricane stuff. I still don't get the players that are in Florida that are out here playing. I mean, hey, we get extra games to cast, but guys, safety does come first. That's just my take on it. But
yeah.
We're going to take a short break right now as we set up into the next set. Next set coming up will be up in just a few moments, about a 6-minute break. This is the Alienware Monthly Melee, and we'll be back in just a moment.